Hi, Studio Recapped here. Today, we're going to talk about a movie called Boot Camp in the comedy and romance genres. Spoiler alert is on, watch out and take care. You won't believe how much your support means. Thank you so much for your support. The movie is about a girl named Whitney who struggles with low self-confidence and faces various challenges. At the beginning, we see Whitney reading a book and imagining herself as the main character, Irabelle. She has been in love with a boy named Jonah since she was 5. Having just graduated, Whitney has no interest in attending prom. Jonah shows up at her house and asks her to go with him. Whitney doesn't want to go to prom, but in the end, she agrees just because of her crush. Her friends suggest different dresses, but because of her weight, none of them fit. Finally, Whitney manages to get ready using a body shaper, does her makeup, and heads to the party. During the dance, right when she's about to confess her feelings to Jonah, the prom king and queen are announced Jonah and a beautiful girl named Willow. Jonah gives flowers to Willow, and Whitney is shocked and heartbroken when she sees them kissing. As she tries to leave, she trips, and her dress tears. Everyone at the party laughs at her, and with a broken heart, she runs home crying. The next morning, she plays tennis with her family, but she realizes she's not good at it and struggles because of her weight. She skips the trip to see her sister's wedding venue, wanting to be alone. Whitney orders a large chocolate mocha for herself. While sitting there, she notices that Jonah works at a gym. She's stunned when Willow shows up, realizing they are together. After Jonah leaves, Willow mocks Whitney, telling her that even if they break up, no guy would ever want her. Feeling crushed, Whitney sees a flyer for a summer camp and decides to sign up to find herself. Her family disapproves since her sister needs help with the wedding. But Whitney insists that she needs this for her personal growth and her health, and they finally agree. On the first day of camp, she immediately notices Willow is there too. Not being able to stand her, Whitney calls her mom, begging her to come and pick her up. Her mom refuses, and Whitney complains that the camp is full of arrogant bodybuilders and she doesn't belong there. She suddenly realizes that a boy named Alex has overheard everything and feels embarrassed. Since she can't convince her mom, she has no choice but to stay. It turns out that Diana, one of the camp leaders, is Willow's mom. Even Willow doesn't seem too happy about being there. After a motivational talk, Diana asks the kids to share why they joined the camp. Each person has their own reasons. When it's Whitney's turn, she simply says she's there to make friends, but avoids mentioning her real struggles. The camp starts with running exercise, and after training, they all go to the dining hall for lunch. Diana remembers Whitney well because she was a top student and had won a scholarship. Whitney makes a few friends and eats with them. Everyone talks about their trainers, hoping to get someone hot and attractive. After lunch, they move on to the next activity. Each camper has to pick up a map and run a course. The bad news? Whitney's assigned trainer is Axel. He pushes her hard during training. Later, it's revealed that Axel is in a relationship with another camp trainer named Renita. Despite everything, the campers agree that Axel is the hottest trainer. That night, Whitney dreams about Axel, showing that she's starting to develop feelings for him. The next day, the trainers introduce new endurance and strength workouts. Whitney struggles a lot with the exercises. For one drill, they have to tie their feet together and climb a pole. Whitney is the first to go. Surprisingly, she imagines herself as Irabelle again and successfully completes the challenge. Diana is really impressed with her. Later, Whitney sneaks around looking for a sail to weigh herself, but Diana catches her. This time, Whitney finally opens up about her struggles, and Diana gives her an encouraging pep talk. The next challenge is climbing a 12-foot wall in under 5 minutes. Whitney and Willow reach the top, but out of stubbornness, they refuse to help each other and both end up falling. During lunch, Axel notices Whitney's hand is injured and takes her to his room to bandage it. She realizes that Axel is reading the same book as her, and this shared interest creates a special moment between them. Renato walks in and misunderstands the situation, but Axel plays it off like Whitney is just a regular camper. Later at dinner, Whitney overhears Willow making fun of her. Out of nowhere, she throws her drink at Willow, and a full-blown fight breaks out between the campers. The trainers intervene, and an angry Axel announces that the campers will have to clean up the mess themselves. The next day, during shooting practice, Whitney once again imagines herself as a champion and does amazingly well. Almost all of her shots hit the target. It's also clear that Axel and Whitney's relationship is becoming more emotional. That night, the kids secretly decide to sneak out of the camp and head to a nearby bar for some fun. Whitney hesitates, using her outfit as an excuse, but after some persuasion from her friends, she agrees to go. Meanwhile, Willow's relationship with her mom is improving. As the group is about to leave, Willow shows up and threatens to tell her mom if they don't let her come along. With no other choice, they take her with them. Later that night, Willow and Whitney have a conversation, and their relationship softens a bit. The group has a great time together. By chance, Axel rises at the bar with his girlfriend and starts watching Whitney. Whitney happily dances and joins the mechanical bull competition, setting a new record. Renata, jealous of Axel's attention toward Whitney, leaves in frustration. Axel, on the other hand, gets jealous of a guy at the bar who seems interested in Whitney. Whitney eventually falls off the bull, and Axel rushes to help her. Eventually, everyone returns to the camp. Meanwhile, two of Whitney's female friends develop feelings for each other. The next morning, training resumes. Whitney tells Axel about how she always imagines herself as Arabelle. Axel advises her that next time, instead of just imagining it, she should actually be the champion. After a yoga session, Diana asks Whitney if she'd like to return next year as an instructor. At this point, Diana realizes she's been neglecting her daughter all along, which was the reason for Willow's resentment toward Whitney. Meanwhile, Renata's jealousy continues to grow, leading to a game students versus instructors. During the game, a romantic moment happens between Axel and Whitney, making Renata even more upset. Whitney's two friends finally confess their feelings for each other and get together. Axel and Renata officially break up. That night, Whitney, feeling a bit lonely, decides to take off her clothes and swim naked in the lake. Axel shows up, strips down as well, and joins her. At some point, Axel loses his necklace, something very precious to him. Whitney dives underwater and finds it for him. After getting out of the water, Axel reveals that the necklace belonged to his father, hinting at a tough past. They get closer and share a kiss. But just as things start to escalate, Axel suddenly pulls away, admitting that he just got out of a relationship and isn't ready. Hurt, Whitney says she knows she's not the kind of girl guys actually want to be with. She accuses Axel of judging her just like everyone else and tells him never to touch her again. Heartbroken, she goes back to her room and cries. The next morning, she doesn't show up for breakfast. Instead, she decides to leave camp, but Willow, feeling guilty about how she treated Whitney before, stops her and says, "You're so amazing that someone like me shouldn't have the power to affect you." That changes Whitney's mind. It's finally time for the race. During competition, Whitney fully embraces the mindset of a true champion and wins first place, shocking everyone. Her character development is undeniable. She now truly believes in herself. After 6 weeks, she says goodbye to her friends and heads back home. At home, she finds her family stressing over her sister's wedding venue, which got canceled. Whitney suggests having the wedding in their backyard and manages to calm her sister down. The wedding day arrives, and Whitney has invited all her friends. She reassures her nervous sister, proving once again that she has truly grown. Through her journey, Whitney has learned to love herself and now carries herself with confidence. Axel, invited by Willow, shows up at the wedding and apologizes to Whitney. He confesses his love, telling her he likes her exactly as she is. They kiss and start dancing together. That's the story. The key takeaway: love yourself first. When you value yourself, others will too.